You got challenges that you're going to run across.
For those contracts, it'll be like generally the project manager, maybe our contracts person. If necessary, I will join those kickoffs. I generally stay away from the kickoffs. My role in the company is more as the growth and CFO. So I sell, bring it in. I bring on that slab of bacon and expect it to be cooked up right. And I have teams that's their role. They know that's their role. She got a slab, y'all. Let's cook it up.
Do it right.
Do it right.
All right. So your person.
I know bacon is your favorite thing.
What is that?
And now bacon is your favorite thing.
No, it's not. My mother tried to put some bacon in my food the other day. I was like, She pulled it out, and she thought I wasn't gonna know it because I could smell it. You know what I'm saying? It was some greens that she cooked. She liked to have bacon in her greens, and she pulled it out.
Who doesn't like to have bacon in their greens?
I know. My sister was there, and it was funny because my sister told her he's gonna smell it, and so she thought I wouldn't. And when I said that, my sister just started laughing and said, I told you.
Bacon is like something, you don't smell bacon. Right. And I don't even like bacon in my greens anymore. I like, I need a good little smoked turkey leg.
Okay.
That'll do it.
Okay. So now I got 100 people at the CDC that's in this one department. Do your people go and interview all of those people? How do you figure out who's dropping the ball? Because obviously somebody's dropping the ball. That's why we're bringing you in.
Right.
So we want to know who's fumbling around here, who's doing something they shouldn't be doing. I had a friend of mine tell me yesterday that this big company that he's with, that he's in Canada, and he said one of the and he's an independent contractor, and the company is they're bringing in new investors because they make hundreds of millions of dollars, but they need new investors to keep the money going. Mm-hmm. So he told the contractor to meet him in a spot, at his location. So he drove 30 miles. He said he went upstairs, and it was on the 9th floor. He said, but the elevator only went to the 8th floor. So he had to walk up to the 9th floor. He said, so when he walked in, the corporate guy was there. He saw this room and said the room was about 1,500 square feet. And he said, well, who? He said, we had this because we had to have a address in this city. So he said, well, how much you think this? He said, it's about $1,000 a month. He said, there's no way in this city that address will be $1,000 a month. He said he found out a little later that it was $8,000 a month. And so he's trying to say, what fool signed off on this? Because they hadn't even used that room in 5 or 6 years, but they've been paying that certain amount of money for that long. I'm like, who? Imagine are they doing this in every city or cities that they don't have? I mean, I'm saying, who's doing this?
We need to find that. That's a market. No, I mean,
I'm saying, but that's what you all do.
Data, though, right? Data is going to. I said that's data. They found out that there was an issue because they were looking at their data, and their data was structured in a way that they could see. I'm going to use a word. See an outlier, right? They could see here's everything else, and boop, and then it goes to everything else. So that outlier, someone curious would have to say, "What is that? What are we doing?" And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened in your situation. That someone curious was like, what is this? Like, why are we doing this? And that's when you start scratching the surface. And once you scratch the surface a little bit, sometimes you see a little eczema, and then you got to scratch a little bit more, right? And got to go down to where that issue really exists. And it's the same in any organization. The data in your organization is going to reveal where your hiccups are. If you are looking at your data and really focused on gathering good data, because as we all know, garbage in, garbage out. But you're looking at that data and you're like, something doesn't make something, as my grandmother used to say, something about this dog ain't hunting.
Right.
And so then you want to go and dig a little deeper and understand what is really happening in that situation. And that's what we come in to do. We are taking the time to dig deeper. So many times our first step is to gather the data. Like we're looking at the org, we're looking at whatever data they have. And then we start interviewing at the senior level to see how their stories align, because sometimes they don't. If they align, so it's weird because if the stories align too much, you're like, okay, this is rehearsed, so we're going to have to go a level down. if their stories don't align at all, that's a different issue, right? So it's like you want to get that middle line of that conversation to know where to start digging more into the data. And once you dig, you'll uncover stuff.
Have you ever uncovered that the biggest hiccup is the person who brought you in? And can you tell them, really? And they didn't know it? They didn't know that they were the problem and they brought you in to...
Yeah, and they're not happy about it. But those are the situations though where that's where they don't want to accept what we have to say, or they'll say, y'all were wrong. And then they'll go try to hire somebody else who will just placate to them and tell them something different. But then 2 years or a year, they're still in the same situation. And then ultimately, data doesn't lie. Data does not lie unless you put in fake data.
So what do you feel makes your company so successful? Because you are successful. What is it? Is it the staff that you hire, the people you hire? Is it the thought process? Is it the leadership? I mean, what is it? I know you're the leader, so it's got to be you. But what else?
No, it is my ability to want people who are smarter than me in the organization, my ability to want people to grow and to learn. I want people to have some level of autonomy and ownership within the organization, especially within their space. And if there's so much micromanagement that you can't even breathe, you can't perform, then we're never going to get to a different space. So it's and people admittedly are the hardest part about an organization. Knowing how to hire the right people. And believe me, I have hired some wrong people. But knowing that you have to hire slow and fire quick is another element that you have to learn over time. I also think that, the same people that were there in the beginning are not the same people that are going to get you, if they help you get to 1 million, unfortunately, they're not the same people that's going to help you get to 3 or 5 or to 10 or to 15, potentially. Sometimes to 10 or 15 could be the same folks. Sometimes you might have to change their job duties a little bit to get to that more strategic level. But you as that leader have to know that one is not about you, and two, hire people that are smarter than you in the area that you need them to be.
Now, see, I hear that a lot, and I hear a lot of people who say that, and I've been a part of companies where that's their thing, hire people who are smarter than them. But then I also see a lot of people who won't do that. They say it, but they're not going to do it. They'll say it because they don't want that person out front. So are you really doing that? You're hiring people that are much smarter than you. In what way? How would you say that? Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.